Hi guys, welcome back to Planet Mithril. My name is Mithril. Today I'm taking a trip to the heart of Elvendom on Earth and giving you my take on how to paint Galadriel, the Lady of Light. Now this is a sculpt that I've had in my 2-paint box for quite a while, and the only reason I haven't ever painted her before is the sheer amount of white cloak on this model can be very, very daunting. It certainly was to me. Given her character in the films is almost porcelain-like, almost doll-like, very, very delicate, but also very sharp. Lots of flowing material, lots of flowing hair, combined with some very sharp features, makes for quite an interesting balanced model in regard to her tabletop portrayal. The key here is going to be trying to balance and recreate those long, luscious locks of golden hair with some light browns and some washed out tones to really capture the look of them from the film. And really the hardest thing you're going to find is going to be balancing the tones of the white gown throughout. You don't want the recesses to be too stark, too deep, because if you do that, you're going to end up with a very unnatural looking flow and feel to her, to the material this gown is made of. It's also worth stating the texture on Galadriel herself is quite close. There's not an awful lot of defined folds, particularly around the back. So the key thing I can advise here is just be patient with it. Take your time, because the more time you take, the more realistic her gown will look, and the better she'll look overall. It's a super refreshing change to painting a model that has pretty much only 3 key features on her: her face, her hair, and her gown. But this does in turn mean that all of these need to be pretty much perfect in order to bring out the best of the model. So yeah, take your time, careful application, good control of your paints and good control of your brushwork will do you wonders during this. Anyway, that's enough rabbiting from me. I hope you're excited to see this model. I'm excited to paint it for you. Brushes ready, guys. Let's get painting. I'm starting by giving Galadriel's face and hands a base coat using a 1-to-1 mix of Bugman's Glow and Cadian Flesh Tone, a lighter base colour given her super fair elven complexion. A long flowing hair now, I'm giving a base coat using Sandry Dust, making sure to get in all the grooves and recesses along the wave of the hair. The final step is to give her gown a thorough, solid base coat using Celestra Grey. Now you can apply this after finishing the face and hair. If you're worried about paint blemishes on the white, it's entirely up to you. What I will say is you'll certainly need at least 2 to 3 coats of thinned down Celestra Grey for a nice crisp finish. I'm giving all of her skin now a shade using diluted Reichland Flesh Shade. keeping it slightly thinner than usual as I don't want to tone her face back too much, just giving a slight sense of depth before layering up. With the shade thoroughly dry, I'm applying an initial layer now using pure Cadian flesh tone. Being a bit more delicate with my application across Galadriel, maybe it's just the character speaking to me, but by feathering these on a bit more than usual, I find you get a much softer texture overall to her features, but maybe that's just me. I'm starting to build up the layers now using a 2-to-1 mix of Cadian flesh tone and flayed one flesh. The flayed one will bring up the tone to our elven flesh quicker and still very naturally, providing I haven't added too much too quickly. I'm focusing more now in further defining the structure of her face and texture over her fingers and hands. Increasing the amount of flayed one flesh in the mix as I continue building up the upper layers. By now you should see that immaculate, almost porcelain look to Galadriel's skin coming through with a nice smooth blended transition from the shaded areas through to these upper areas. With the final highlights, I'm just adding in palette flesh to the overall mix. Now you can see how I'm just accentuating her brow line, nose and her upper cheekbones, the more pronounced facial features and stress points over her hands. You can add as much or a little palette witch as you want depending on how light you want your edge highlights to finish up. The final stage now is to give her skin a glaze using heavily diluted Reichman Flesh Aid, just to further reinforce the blending and tie everything together a little bit more. I'm quickly now just picking out her lips again using Tuscaur Fur. The eye recesses I'm picking out now using Abaddon Black. And finishing the eyes off with 2 dots of palette witch flesh either side. Now for her long flowing locks of golden hair. To start with, I'm giving these a thorough shade using diluted Seraphim Sepia, taking a little bit of extra time to work it between the very well defined fibres of hair to make sure every part gets good coverage. With this now dry, I'm building in the shape of the flowing hair now by layering up using Talon sand. Now Galadriel's hair is surprisingly well defined, while what's left after Gimli took 3 hairs, particularly for a metal sculpt, although as it's one of only 3 parts on her, you'd like to think it would be. Regardless, long unbroken strokes here will give you the best look and feel to building in the texture of her hair, leaving the Seraphim Sepia showing in the recesses. The next stage is to start highlighting the hair using a 1-to-1 mix of Talon sand and Screaming Skull. The Screaming Skull will help desaturate Galadriel's hair and give it more of a perfect ethereal feel, which is absolutely perfect. You can see how I'm focused on further defining the lines of her hair and focusing more on where the waves crest as it falls down her front. This just helps create a bit more movement over what is effectively a very static pose. Finally, I'm hitting the hair with an edge highlight where I'm now using pure Screaming Skull, focusing more on the crest of the waves and the tips and more pronounced parts of her hair. With the hair now looking pretty much exactly how I want, I'm going to apply a final glaze now using heavily diluted Reikland Flesh Shade. I'm starting Galadriel's gown now by applying an all-over shade using Soul Blight Grey, working this into the grooves and recesses to shade, but this also helps me give some more guidelines on my layers once this is dried. Now for what is arguably the most daunting part of painting Galadriel, the most mundane, but also the most prominent part of the model. Why is this like this? And white as well? Right, we can do this. With my shade dry now, I'm going over the gown and layering up with a 1-to-1 mix of Celestra Grey and Ulthuan Grey. Given how soft the recesses are compared to normal models, it might prove challenging to build in the texture and main body material, especially as the texture of her gown itself is quite close and the folds fairly shallow for the most part, so just take your time and be patient. Okay, by now the most challenging part is arguably done. The main body of the cloak is starting to take shape and you can see how the folds are starting to be a bit more defined against the recessed shade. Now it's just a case of further accentuating the pure white of her gown and building on what I've already got in place. I'm doing this by applying a second layer now using pure Ulthuan Grey, focusing on the larger folds and bigger surface areas to create natural depth and texture. I'm going to highlight Galadriel's gown now using pure white scar, being a bit more targeted and precise to really accentuate those upper level highlights and get the upper folds to really stand out against the more blended and washed out tone. This will just stop her becoming an amorphous blob of white cloth on the table and help keep her looking as magical and resplendent as she should be. Finally, when you're happy with how your gown is looking, a glaze can then be applied with heavily diluted Soul Blight Grey. Phew, all done now. The only other stage now is to carefully pick out her headdress and Nenya on her raised hand using Greynite Steel. And there you have it, the Lady of Light, Protector of Lothlorien, all finished, looking as magical and ethereal as you did in the film, bidding farewell to our brave fellowship. I'm very glad to see that some of the older metal sculpts still hold up over time against all the brand new plastic shiny kits we're getting. This is definitely a timeless sculpt for such a majestic and powerful character. For basing tips, please head on over and check out my 5-minute bases playlist. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to make sure you never miss out on a Mythworld upload. And thank you to all our patrons for continuing to support the channel over there. Don't forget you can support on Patreon for as little as £1 a month and support my very unhealthy addiction to pallid witch flesh, which I didn't actually use in this tutorial. Are you all shocked? I know I am. But thank you all so much for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed. Take care, and as always, happy hobbying. Bye guys.